Think you know everything about the MCU? Sit tight. This video is going to give you some details on a new sequence that'll change the way you think about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Did you know that just a single scene, which was originally supposed to be included in an earlier MCU movie, could have altered everything? Join ScreenRant as we look at what could have happened in an alternate cinematic universe. Before we start, if you want more theories about your favorite cinematic universes and you want them in Spanish, then there's a whole new channel made especially for Spanish speakers. It's called De Película. It's dedicated to all the most plausible, most insane, and the most plausibly insane theories out there. Check it out. Since 2008, the MCU has conquered the box office thanks to its storytelling and star power. By assembling a crack team of actors and creative types, they've plotted out a series of high-quality movies that will likely keep the fans happy for the foreseeable future. But what if things back in 2008 went differently? What if Iron Man had a totally different ending? Recently, Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige unveiled a deleted version of the post-credits scene that helped spawn the many sequels we all know and love. As you probably remember, the original post-credits stinger to 2008's Iron Man involved Tony Stark returning home sometime after he revealed to the world that he was in fact a superhero.
I am Iron Man.
He steps into the darkened living room to find a figure standing by the room's wide windows. It's here that Samuel L. Jackson reveals himself, saying,
"I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative."
That name drop of the yet-to-be-introduced superhero team was enough to make fans in the audience go crazy. Yet the scene as it was originally intended to play would have shaken things up even further. In September of 2019, at the 45th Annual Saturn Awards, Kevin Feige appeared via a taped segment that introduced the much-talked-about Sam Jackson outtake. In his speech, Feige teased the upcoming Infinity Saga box set, explaining, "We pulled some things out of that vault that we said, we'll never show this to anybody, put it away. We're bringing them out. And I'm about to show you a deleted scene that has never been seen by anyone before right now." Sure, Feige may have exaggerated, after all the whole crew that was on set to film the scene plus whoever assembled the Saturn Award footage had likely seen Sam Jackson utter these deleted lines. So, the footage that he unveiled features Sam Jackson uttering the following bit of dialogue. As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough, I have to deal with a spoiled brat who doesn't play well with others and wants to keep all his toys to himself. This deleted sequence is relatively short, but it's left the fan community wondering, was Marvel planning to include other superheroes much sooner than we originally thought? Also, was Marvel Studios intending to use the versions of characters from the 20th Century Fox films of the early 2000s? The MCU introduced their own version of the Hulk in the 2008 follow-up to Iron Man. In referencing gamma accidents, Marvel Studios must have known that fans watching Iron Man might just recall the big green monster's origin story as told in Ang Lee's 2003 version of the Hulk. And obviously, the radioactive bug bite line refers to Sam Raimi's hugely successful Spider-Man franchise, while the assorted mutants line references the X-Men franchise. Perhaps in 2008, there were talks to include these characters, as played by Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman, and an assorted all-star cast.
Class dismissed.
If so, these talks between Marvel Studios and 20th Century Fox would have happened much earlier than we all previously thought. It's likely that the MCU creative team had multiple versions of this Iron Man scene in the can in the event Marvel Studios was able to ink out a deal with 20th Century Fox. If such a deal were to happen, it would have occurred in the decade before the actual merger went through under the Disney banner. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Kevin Feige, an executive producer on the third movie in each franchise, X-Men The Last Stand and Spider-Man 3, would be attempting to unite all of the Marvel characters into a singular film series. As we all learned from the fallout between Marvel Studios and Sony, these deals are difficult and conversations can take a lot of twists and turns before all parties are happy with the result. This whole fiasco just goes to show that it's very hard to get major studios to work together. So while we fans didn't learn of the potential for a crossover between the MCU, X-Men, and Raimi's Spider-Man series, it just was not meant to be. At least, not back in 2008. It wasn't until Captain America: Civil War that a new iteration of Spider-Man joined Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Big fan of Spider-Man.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
That said, if Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man joined the MCU, how would that have changed the Infinity Saga as we know it?
Pizza time.
Would they have adopted a similar visual style to Sam Raimi's, which really shined in Spider-Man 2, particularly with all those crash zooms during the Dr. Octopus surgery scene? With Spider-Man introduced into the MCU as a character with a firmly established backstory, would he have held a leadership position? Would many of the other characters have deferred to him during the Battle of New York? After all, the guy knows his territory. With Tobey Maguire in the spider suit, there would be room for a lot of storytelling opportunities in the MCU. That said, we would have been robbed of all the fun high school hijinks that Tom Holland's youthful Spider-Man provides. Also, we wouldn't have seen Tony act as Peter's mentor, which creates an interesting father-son dynamic for the unsentimental Tony and the hyperactive Peter.
Crime-fighting Spider. You're Spider-Boy?
Both characters complement each other and fill a void in the other's life. Their partnership adds a nice touch to the overall Infinity Saga story arc, giving an extra dose of frenetic physicality to the action scenes and spicing up the interactions between the Avengers. In an alternate world where Tobey Maguire is the character beyond Spider-Man 3, we'd lose this dynamic. As played by Maguire, Peter Parker is more subdued and introspective than the Tom Holland iteration, who wears his heart on his sleeve. Sure, Holland's version of the character hasn't yet matured into the wisecracking and self-aware Spider-Man that we often see in the comics, but he's bursting with personality, and he's on his way to maturing into a hero who fully accepts the great responsibilities that come with his powers. For the sake of this video, let's imagine what a Tobey-inclusive MCU would have been like. First of all, when would the guy have been introduced? Following Spider-Man 3, the series faced some setbacks in the storytelling department.
Look at little Goblin Jr.
At the time, director Sam Raimi was reluctant to include Venom because of the character's otherworldly interstellar origins. It just didn't seem to fit with the vibe of that series of Spider-Man movies.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Yet the studio was looking to give the audience more bang for their buck and thought that the symbiote suit posed some interesting storytelling possibilities for everyone's favorite web-slinger. Raimi acquiesced, and we got the Spider-Man 3 that we all remember.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
Some fans believe that time has been kinder to Spider-Man 3 than some of the other, more controversial superhero movies out there. But Raimi disagrees. In an interview on the Nerdist podcast, Raimi said, "I tried to make it work, but I didn't really believe in all the characters. I should have just stuck with the original characters and the relationships and progressed them to the next step and not tried to top the bar." He went on to call Spider-Man 3 awful. With that in mind, it's not hard to imagine that the powers that be were looking for an opportunity to include Tobey Maguire as part of the Avengers lineup, or at least have the actor serve as an ally to the Avengers' cause. Ironically, that Avengers film would accomplish something else that once seemed impossible. They plausibly established the existence of aliens and all-powerful interstellar beings in a comic book movie. But there was a time when it seemed impossible to get mainstream audiences to respect a film that featured both crime-fighting people in tights and visitors from outer space. As we said before, Spider-Man 3 introduced the alien-based symbiote suit, but many members of the audience didn't seem to take that seriously. In terms of comic book movie storytelling, we really can't overstate how groundbreaking that first Avengers film was. Consider the MCU's ability to balance the personal standalone films that focused on individuals like Iron Man and Captain America, along with the epic and earth-shattering nature of the Avengers team-up films. With all these factors in mind, the MCU stands alone, giving us storylines that are as diverse as the characters inhabiting their universe. If you're the ultimate Tobey Maguire fanboy and you're dwelling on what the MCU might have been had Tobey appeared in the films, then you can at least take solace in the fact that other fans feel your pain. In a fan-made deepfake video, Tobey Maguire's face has been superimposed over Tom Holland's. Sure, it's weird, sure, it's uncanny, and sure, it's Tom Holland's voice and body doing all the work, but it's also the one chance you have to see Tobey's likeness in Spider-Man footage. Now, what about the other characters that Nick Fury referred to in his deleted Iron Man dialogue? When will the X-Men join the MCU? Well, that's anyone's guess.
You're X-Men.
Their involvement hasn't officially been announced as part of the upcoming slate of films and Disney Plus TV shows. Still, we may soon be treated to MCU versions of everyone's favorite mutants. And this on-screen appearance of the X-Men, that we assume will eventually happen, just might do justice to the characters in areas where some of the previous X-Men films failed. When the MCU version of the X-Men does appear on screen, everything hinted at by Nick Fury's unused Iron Man dialogue will come to fruition. Marvel will finally pay off on a deleted scene that until recently, we didn't even know existed. Oh, and don't forget to check out our friendly neighbors at De Película. There you'll find videos about all the latest events in every cinematic universe. So, now that you know a bit more about some of the secrets that lie in the MCU's deleted scenes, what else do you think might be hidden in the vaults of Marvel Studios? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all the developments swirling around your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and the rest of the Avengers. It's all right here on ScreenRant. See you around.